How's it hanging, bros? My name is Sean and welcome back to another video. Today's not a Fortnite video. We're going to do a little something different. I want to explain to you guys why I hated Star Wars The Last Jedi. I hated it. The first one was okay. The one with J.J. Abrams directing it wasn't so bad. But there's a few points here that I want to address. And there will be spoilers. So, you know, if you don't want to see spoilers, fuck off. Don't watch the video. If you watch the video, that's your own goddamn fault. So, you know, sorry, I guess. Not sorry, right? Anyway. So, my main fucking thing with Star Wars The Last Jedi is there is too much comic relief. So much comic relief that this fucking movie is damn near a comedy. And this was a movie that was touted up to be the darkest movie of Star Wars to date. You know, this was supposed to be like the end of the Rebel Alliance. This is supposed to be, or the Resistance, excuse me. This is supposed to be the end of, you know, this is like their last spark of being able to do anything against the First Order, right? And of course they're not going to be able to do anything because they're on their last leg. Even though in the last movie they were able to destroy Starkiller's base, which you would think would give them some sort of a leg up. But that's another point. That's another point. Let me stick with the comic relief here because I'm going to get sidetracked because this movie is really fucking shit. First, put the comic relief on hold. I'm getting scatterbrained here. Let's give it some props, okay? I know there's going to be a lot of fanboys out there, a lot of young kids who really doesn't understand the intricacies and the nuances of the Star Wars universe. So let's give it some props. The camera work, the camera angles, the filmography overall, the cinematography overall was great. It was beautiful. You know, the CGI was well done. I'm not going to lie, it was pretty good. Some of the acting was very decent. You know, you can't really fault a lot of the actors. A lot of the actors were pretty good. But the directing, you know, the production, the choice of cuts and what to cut in and what to leave in and what to add and what to put where really fucked this movie up. Okay, so comic relief. These fuckers. I don't know what these fuckers are. I don't know what they're supposed to be. These things right here, I don't give a shit what they are. I don't want to know. I don't care. All I know is they pop up in like 17 different scenes. 17 different scenes. And their only reason for being there is comic relief. Comic relief. That's it. That's all there is. You know, I guess they're kind of like the new pet of this movie, you know, something like that. They infest Chewbacca's Millennium Falcon, and you know, and he feels guilty for trying to eat one. And okay, I could take that. Those a couple things are okay. I understand that. A little bit of comic relief, but they should have left it there. These little penguin fucking wannabe dodo looking birds, they fucking go with Chewbacca on the Millennium Falcon. And again, this is a movie that's where the rebels are dead. They've lost everybody but like 200 people. Literally everybody in the galaxy but 200 people. So this is supposed to be an extremely dark movie. An extremely dark movie. And you got every time there's a huge intense battle. I'm talking about an intense battle that you started on the edge of your seat. And then you throw your hands up in despair whenever this little fucking penguin thing pops up on the screen and all up in your face because it's supposed to be funny. Because, oh, he's scared that TIE fighters are shooting at him. Okay, if you would have done that one time, maybe I would give you a pass. But when you do it 3 or 4 times in the same 2-minute scene, and then 3 or 4 more times throughout the rest of the movie, it breaks immersion. It really does. And I'm not like some huge Star Wars fanboy, but you know, I do enjoy Star Wars, and any story that I get into, I kind of want them to, you know, stay, you know, true to the story and the lineage and what is canon, what's decided that has been canon and what hasn't been canon. And this is a little bit too much. But I'm willing to give these penguin things a pass. But we're still in comic relief. I'm not done yet. The first scene opens up with this very intense standoff between General Leia and Poe Dameron, and General Hux and his huge Star Destroyer, right? The Rebel Alliance, they're low on fuel, they're trying to get away, they're done. They're tracking them through light speed. Nobody really knows how. So they can't get away, right? They can't get away. Even though Starkiller Base is destroyed, and that was supposed to be the one thing that destroyed the Capitol, you know, they have no leg up and they can't get away. Okay, so, well, you have to accept that. It's the movie, right? New director, maybe he has a different vision for this movie, when you can obviously tell he really didn't sink himself into the genre of Star Wars at all. So, nevertheless, scene opens up, and Poe Dameron's fucking with Hux. You know, Hux is like, you know, very serious in the thing that you need to surrender, that type of, you know, language. And, you know, Poe Dameron's over here fucking with him like, huh? What? I can't hear you. You know, just fucking with him, just messing with him. Which would be okay if, again, that was one of the very few comic relief situations and not in the very beginning of a very, very serious movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. There's another scene where they're trying to take out a dreadnought. It's kind of like a very smaller Starkiller base that has a huge, not really a Starkiller base, but a very, very, very huge ship that can fuck everybody up, right? Okay, so they decide to go bomb this thing. They have these bombers, right? These bombers that can, I guess, fly a half a mile an hour. But anyway, they have these bombers. All the bombers get destroyed because the Poe Dameron, you know, is way too headstrong and trying to get this thing going. Nevertheless, this is such an intense scene. One of the best scenes of the movie. There's this rebel, and, you know, she's trying to fucking hit this button to drop the last of the bombs, and, you know, she's hardly able to do it, and she can't do it, and she's trying, and it's a very, very, very good scene, and you really want, you know, them to make it through if you're, you know, if you're on the rebel side and you like their storyline. And then Poe Dameron comes in, and he's flying with this spaceship, and BB-8's in the back, and then, oh no, they get shot a little bit. So now BB-8 has to go into, you know, the depths of his little ship and fix some stuff so they can shoot the last blaster cannon so she can drop the bombs. That way she don't get shot, right? Okay, whatever. And then BB-8 has this whole elaborate 20-second long comic relief and one of the most serious fucking scenes where, you know, it's just funny. He keeps getting shocked and he can't fix the thing, and it is funny. Don't get me wrong, they did a good job. It's funny, but it's wrongly placed in such a serious scene. They should have just let it played out. Because they almost let it play out completely up until the very last end, and then you have that little BB-8 thing separating something super serious, and then the very finale of that very super serious thing, right? And then you have BB-8 right there, smack dab in the middle, breaking the immersion of what's going on. And it is funny, and I could see BB-8 doing some stuff like that, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It just didn't work. Boogie2988 said that he liked the comic relief. I just think there's too much. I think the comic relief was well done. It was just way too much. It's fun for the kids. You know, the kids, they don't really understand Star Wars. Maybe they've seen some of the older movies, but they don't understand the nuances of Star Wars. How, you know, what is what and why things are the way they are. So, yeah, comic relief. It is just a little too much. There's other bits of comic relief that I really should address. But, you know, let's move on a little bit. No, let's not. Comic relief. You know, in the very first movie, the comic relief was done by most of the actors. You know, there was like small little innuendos and funny moments and stuff like that. Very, very subtle. Very, very subtle. Not in your face like that fucking penguin thing, or not in your face with, you know, in the middle of a super serious scene. There's a huge piece of comic relief. It should have been subtle. Very, 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 very subtle. Okay, now for the diehard fans, they had a lot of problems just with Disney doing this whole thing in general. You know, of course, Rey is supposed to be this super powerful Jedi. She's had no training whatsoever. So be that as it may, okay, let's assume that she's like an Anakin, right? And she has, well, I know the midichlorians not really a thing, but let's just say she has a high rate of midichlorians, right? And her midichlorians are through the roof. You know, she's just a really badass Jedi, and she picks things up very easily. But to harness those and do it right, you would still have to have some sort of training. Like, she really made leaps and bounds in the first movie, which was still a little iffy, but J.J. Abrams did a good job. Like, for example, her fighting style with the lightsaber was not refined because she had no training. It was very, very brutal. It was very, she was just swung it very wildly. And that, as you would expect for somebody who's never had any sort of sword training whatsoever, right? So, so fast forward to this movie. She goes to the planet where Luke Skywalker is, right? Which they immediately fucked that whole scene up where she hands him the lightsaber. Immediate comic relief. The very most serious scene that the last one left off of. He takes the lightsaber from her hand and during this very, very serious scene, and he just chucks it over his shoulder. Comic relief, and it would have been okay if, you know, if that was the only comic relief in that scene. If they didn't have the penguins flapping around fucking everywhere. And fucking, you know, Luke Skywalker drinking fucking green milk from a fucking tit of some fucking, I don't know what it is. And I don't even want to put the image of the animal on here. But anyway, she goes to this island and she's looking for Luke, right? So obviously the trailer shows that she's supposed to be training with Luke, and Luke ends up saying that he's going to train her in lesson 1. You know, reach out, feel the force, blah 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 blah. So again, more comic relief. She reaches out instead of actually reaching out with her feelings with the force. Well, okay, we're finding whatever, but still, way too fucking much comic relief. So push come to shove, now, you know, Rey, 2 or 3 days on this island, and all of a sudden, Rey starts swinging this lightsaber around like she's some fucking master. Luke had never even showed her how to swing a lightsaber at all. At all. Okay? So it's like, what, you know what I mean? Like, how'd you get so refined so quickly? There's no gap to bridge there. It makes no sense. I understand that she has to be the opposite of Kylo Ren. He's darkness, he's building, you know, there has to be balance in the Force, so at least they got that right, and there's somebody light coming up, but there still has to be fucking training. There has to be training, or therefore she sucks. You know, you can't, you know, somebody like Kylo Ren who's been massively trained, gets whooped by her in the first movie, so that was a little inconsistent. And then now she's like this really badass fucking Jedi fighter, and it makes no sense. Her and Kylo Ren take on a whole host of Praetorian guards. She has had literally 2 saber battles in her entire fucking life. Okay, so how in the hell are you going to take on trained Praetorian guards that used to be able to whoop some Jedi's asses? Very well trained Jedi's. You know, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Makes no sense. And then other diehard fans would have a problem with General Leia, you know, because she died this last year. So whenever she gets sucked out into space, you know, and you see her body freeze up, you're like, oh wow, you know, like, you know, I guess that's the way they're gonna let her go out, man. You know, that sucks, but that's war. You know, that's the dark movie. That's the way it should be. And as soon as you finish that thought, all of a sudden she fucking switches into Superman mode and flies back to the ship, knocks on the fucking window, and Poe Dameron lets her in. Again, there's no chamber in between these 2 doors where, you know, the vacuum seal or whatever you call it is fucking, you know, filling the chamber with oxygen and getting rid of the vacuum of space, right? No, the door just opens up, and you would think that everybody would be fucking sucked out of the ship into fucking space, but no. Princess Leia just walks in and, you know, kind of just, hey Leia, oh wow, damn, I hope you're okay. Not, wow, you really do have some of your brother in you, or wow, you really do have some of the Force in you. And everybody knows she has some of the Force in her because she's a Skywalker lineage, but she never was trained. So how in the fuck do you automatically, you know, surround yourself in a fucking Force bubble and fucking fly nowhere when it looks like you're fucking dead and frozen? Was it just a reaction? Was it, you know what I mean? Was it instinct? Was it a force instinct? You know, none of these things were explained. It's you're just left for your imagination to run wild when you know in the back of your head that, you know, these things don't happen unless you're really trained. Like, there's been Jedis who's killed themselves based off lack of training and trying to do stupid shit. So I don't know. It just doesn't make no sense. And I know there's like a huge shield around the rebel ship and whatnot, and maybe that was like their vacuum seal. But still, how in the fuck is she flying like Superman? It just makes no sense. I mean, I know she has some force abilities, but whatever. The casino scene would have been a really good scene if they would have led in with that. If that would have been one of the first few scenes, like, oh, hey, we got to get the code breaker because we discover that there's a dreadnought that we can kind of maybe break in, and I think it might be telling our crew, and then come to find out it is telling the crew, right? So, yeah, I don't really know. I don't know why they added the put that in late, and let alone sneak off a ship that you're surrounded by with no fuel to go to this random planet that's so far away to find this one guy who ends up betraying you, that doesn't really further the plot really at all, and then making it back to the ship. It just seems like a bit of a stretch. And it did kind of tie in towards the end a little bit, but they probably should put that in towards the beginning. You know, I don't know. That's just my opinion, but I just didn't think it worked right. And plus, it's just one big, you know, orgy of fucking of CGI. You know, and that's what the whole scene was. And it wasn't a bad scene. The CGI was done okay, but it kind of felt like the prequels, where they were trying to force in a bunch of different aliens for no reason. You know. So yeah, I think the best scene was Maz Kanata showing up in the little, you know, hologram thing and try to tell them about the code breaker. I think that was the coolest scene. The subplots with the general and underling, the one who takes over the ship when General Air goes down, that was a cool subplot. But other than that, you know, there's way too much comic relief, and it just didn't work, guys. It did not work. You know, I think they probably should have just stuck with the same director all the way through. That way he could have, you know, kept his vision going, instead of, you know, it being immediately chucked to the side and somebody else trying to bridge these gaps. And it really just felt like a continuation of the first movie. It didn't really feel like a second movie. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. That's my thoughts. That's why I hated Star Wars. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you go watch Star Wars, so you don't just have to take my word for it, guys. So, you know, for anybody who's new to this channel, we'll be doing a lot of different videos here lately. This is the first one that we're going to be branching off. We're still going to be doing Fortnite videos for the Fortnite fans, so don't you worry. We'll be having some of those coming out. But we will be branching off. We're going to do some different games just to keep the channel changing up a little bit. So I hope you guys like, comment, subscribe. Join our Discord. It's fucking awesome in there. It's fun. You guys are fucking dedicated, and y'all are very memey, and I love it. So yeah, keep it up, guys. I hope I see you in the next video.
With your feet on the air, your head on the ground. Try